It's our reality, just your average family trying to be normal and stay out of trouble, living a double life.
What's up? Today we got Thunderman Season 2, Episode 10, Winter Thunderland. The Thunderman's only Christmas special. This episode starts off, it's Christmas Eve in the Thunder House. Everyone's excited, except for Max. Phoebe says, Merry almost Christmas to Max. Max says, Christmas again? He's so tired of it. Everyone being nice, singing songs, eating figgy pudding. Phoebe says, Christmas is still a week away, so he's got plenty of time to get his figgy on. Max says, he will fight Christmas as long as he lives. It's the number one rule it's the number one supervillain rule. Followed by never help old people. Phoebe says, Max can't defeat the spirit of Christmas. And Hank shows up saying, Merry almost Christmas. And Hank says, Merry almost Christmas. And saying, a nice job, Phoebe. Barb says, Phoebe's outdone herself. Then Nora and Billy show up saying, Merry almost Christmas. And Max says, okay, we get it. Nora says Billy's helping her make sure they have a white Christmas. Billy says does a snow dance, and Max tells Phoebe to make Billy stop. Hank tells Nora that the weather forecast, he says the forecast, but we all know it's the weather forecast, says no snow. And Billy's awesome dance moves aren't going to change that. Nora says it's their holiday tradition. It's not a Thunderman Christmas if they're not all together playing in the snow. Barb says, "Don't worry. She's arranged. She's sure there'll be it'll still feel like the holidays." Phoebe says, "That's right, but just to help, Phoebe has arranged a secret Santa exchange." And as me who always loves Secret Santa and does it every single year, I know what the rules are. Not like this show does. Yeah. All they have to do is, Phoebe says, all they have to do is, they grab it. But they grab it not listening to her. Hank got Phoebe, Barb got Max, and Nora gets Barb. And Billy gets himself. Even though that is not allowed. You're in real life Secret Santa, which I know because I do it every single year. I know that once you get yourself, you have to redraw because it's not allowed. But this show doesn't, so they allow Billy to just keep him as himself because Phoebe doesn't know what's real Secret Santa, how you actually do a Secret Santa gift exchange. Because she would not allow, if she knew that, she would not allow Billy to get himself, and she would have him to redraw. But no, they just allow Billy to keep himself because this show is. Anyway, again, my raging against how this show gets this wrong aside, Max gets Nora, Max gets Nora, and Phoebe gets Hank. But again, shouldn't Billy get Max? Shouldn't Billy get Nora, and Max get Hank? Billy just gets himself. Because again, this show does not know what the actual Secret Santa is about. And since I've done it for years, I know how you actually do an actual Secret Santa game. But this show doesn't, so they allow Billy to just have himself. Yeah. Even though Billy picking himself is against the rules. Yeah. Max tells Nora she's going down, and Nora says, does anyone want to switch with her? No. And Billy tells Nora he's going to keep their Christmas tradition alive. How does snow from Mount Fuji sound? Billy speeds off and comes up with a bucket, dousing Nora with water, saying, saying the snow turned into water. It's a Christmas miracle. Billy, it's not. I think it would be a Christmas miracle if the snow turned into like if the water was snow, not if the snow is water. I know Billy's not smart. I know. I just have to point that out. After the opening, at the Thunderman House kitchen, Clausen says it's already Christmas Eve, despite Phoebe saying in the opening that it was weeks that it's weeks. Phoebe saying it's still weeks away, so that means time passed between the ending of the opening and the ending of the first half and the opening. Time has already somehow passed between the start of the episode and after the opening credits. How is that even possible? Usually when in this show, the episodes, the start of the episode and after the opening are usually in the same time frame. But how does Phoebe go from saying it's still weeks away to Klaus saying it's already Christmas Eve? How is that even possible? I'm even questioning myself now. I'm even questioning this show. Yeah. Max says he doesn't ask Klaus. He hasn't asked Klaus. Klaus says Max hasn't asked him about his mistletoe hat. And Max says, sorry, what's this crying attention for about? Klaus says normally he hates Christmas, but this year he's going to use that as an excuse to get a kiss from Barb. Max says Barb can't stand Clauso. And Clauso says if Barb kisses Hank, he has to be in the game. And Clauso says, why is Max putting Constantine in a box? Max says, well, Nora wants a white Christmas. Well, he'll be giving her one. But it'll be green and stinky. Barb and Phoebe are seeing partridge in a pear tree, and Max says he's going to find that tree and chop it down to make a partridge pear pie. I love Max. I know this must be Max being bad, but just the fact is that Phoebe says Max is such a Scrooge. More he's a Grinch, but we'll get to that later. Max says Phoebe says the sweetest thing, and Klaus tries to get a kiss from Barb, but of course she electrifies him instead. And Nora asks Hank what he's doing with a block of ice, and Billy wants to lick it, but Barb says it isn't for licking, and Hank says Nora was right about keeping their thundering family tradition. And all Hank needs to do is to make it snow to get the block of ice into the poofy cloud. Phoebe says that plan sounds poofy, and Nora says she believes in Hank, and Hank says thanks Nora, and flies up, and Barb says and flies through the ceiling, and Barb's like, why doesn't he always use the same hole? And Hank walks in expecting snow, but the block of ice just falls through the ceiling and onto the floor. And Billy goes to lick it, and Nora says sorry and tells Billy to stop. He can stop licking now, but Billy reveals that his tongue got stuck to the block. I don't know how it got unstuck, but because this is not involvement to the plot, and Billy's thing is just unstuck, but Max comes down to see if Phoebe left him a gift. Max talks about stupid Phoebe trying to get him into the Christmas spirit and yells to Phoebe to stay out of his lair. Phoebe says Merry Christmas Eve. Again, how did time pass between the start of the episode and after the opening credits? Still, I don't know how time passes. Klaus says he tried to stop Phoebe, but Christmas is strong in that one. And Max says he needs to dry out this holiday cheer with some smoothing car crash sounds. Max is much better. Max goes to sleep. That's when the spirit of Christmas the spirit of Christmas past teleports in, telling Max to wake up. Max yelling at Barb to finally snap, but she says she's not feedback. Yeah, I'm gonna talk like this for all of her scenes. Max says tells her to go away, but but it goes right through her. Max is like, how does she do that? And she says she told Max she's not feedback, which is like, he didn't even ask her that. He asked her how did that go through her, and that's her response. Like, she could have just said she's a ghost. Like, she's a spirit. Like, that's her thing. But no, she has to tell him she's not Phoebe. Like, he didn't ask that. I don't get that. She's here to show him how that all of his lame ideas to ruin Christmas has failed. Like royally. Or like really. Max says, as Christmas is back, we're in exact was that outfit cool. She has the 80s barf bag. The 80s. Just the 80s. She tries to take Max to see how bogus he's been in the past. The Christmas takes Max back to home in Metroburg in the past, when Max and Phoebe were babies. Baby Max says barf, but Max thinks he said Barb. Max says he said Barb, but the Christmas spirit says she totally heard Barb. Max says he barfed on Barb and he ruined that Christmas like he ruined the other one. She's like, did ya? Max like, yeah, and she's like, let's scope it out, McFly. You're okay. I guess you're from the 80s, so yeah, I guess you do know what Back to the Future is. And they transport to the family's last Christmas in Metroburg, where Max gave him coal for Christmas. Max says, "Merry Christmas, sucker," but Hank's able to turn the coal into a diamond. Hank says maybe there's enough to retire on so they can spend more time with the kid. Barb says they can move to the suburbs and get kids a normal life. Barb hears "Hey, Village great," which I guess this is the time that they moved. Hank says it'll be great to get Max away from the supervillains here in Metroburg. Young Phoebe says the Christmas spirit rule. Thanks, Max. And then Max is like, don't thank Max. Yeah, Phoebe and Max used to have braces back in the day. Don't know what made them got rid of them, but yeah. Max says, "How is this possible?" And the spirit of Christmas past says, "Now do you see how Max totally spent his time trying to kill the Christmas spirit? It always turns his bad gifts into good gifts. So why is he trying to give Nora a good gift?" Max realized he could give Nora gifts at all. That's definitely ruin her Christmas. And says, "Thanks, spirit." Even though this Christmas spirit says, "Don't thank her. That wasn't the point." Max says he's trying to. He can't hear her. He's too busy waking herself up, and she says to not wake himself up. Then Max slaps himself awake, and Max says, "Sleeping slap hurts." Colossus says, "What's Max talking about?" And Max says he had a dream where he gave everyone bad gifts. Colossus like, "Oh yeah." Colossus like, it wasn't a dream. He was about to give Nora cottage cheese. Max like, he's not gonna give her cottage cheese anymore. He's not gonna give her any gift at all. Then Max turns on bomb sound effects and goes to sleep. That's when he's whacked by the spirit of Christmas present. Get it? Because she wears a present for an outfit, and she's just Kara Costner doing her a joyer, an excited version of Phoebe impression. If Phoebe was more excited. So yeah. And Max, yeah. She says, "Wake up, Max. It's Christmas morning." And Max says, Who in the Dickens are you?" And it's just like, "Max, you making a Charles Dickens reference?" Okay. Max, yeah. She says She says since Max didn't learn anything from the Spirit of Christmas past, she's here to show Max what Nora's reaction will be when she opens up her gift in the morning. Max says no thanks and Barb's bag and says, "Oh, he did learn something." But then she whacks him again. So he's like, "What's that bat made of?" Wrapping paper made? What is that wrapping paper made of? And she says, it's a bat, which she holds upside down for some reason. So Max says he'll get his shoes, and they leave, and she says she loves her job, and they teleport to the next morning, where Nora opens her present and discovers that there's nothing in it, nothing there. Billy says that is messed up. Max says Happy Merry Christmas, and Barb reveals Max's full name. Barb reveals Max's full name, Maximus Octavius Thunderman. So Barb named Max after Doc Ock. Barb says, Maximus Octavius Thunderman, how could you? And Hank says, apologize to Nora. And Max says, apologize for his middle name. And they say they're sorry. Max is like, oh, but I'm still not apologizing. Phoebe says, don't worry, it's going to take one empty box to ruin Christmas, right, Nora? And Nora says, no snow, no presents, Christmas is ruined, and punches Max and runs off. The Spirit of Christmas present says, batter up, teleporting Max back to his bed. Constance says, what's all the hubbub about? Max says, another bad dream. Max says, this dream opened his eyes to learn a valuable lesson about Christmas. What small-minded person tried to ruin a little girl's Christmas? When you ruin all of their Christmas. Yeah, Max becomes the Grinch now and decides to drop a little Grinch reference by saying he's a mean one. Calls himself a mean one. Okay, so the show started. So this episode went from a Christmas Carol parody to a Grinch parody. And now it's going to go back to a Christmas Carol parody. Max later says his dream of ruining Christmas is finally coming true. And he can't wait to wake up and see everyone's disappointed faces. Claudia says Barb will be so upset she won't even see the mistletoe coming. Then nothing but lips. Again, Claudia, Barb doesn't like you. You can't try it now. Also, Max turns his recorded man cackling on and goes to sleep when a hooded figure kicks his bed, and Max says, please don't be another Phoebe. The hooded figure reveals himself as the Spirit of Christmas future, where they have awesome short haircuts and giant candy. Max stole Christmas from his family, and Max says, that's right, what's she gonna do about it? And she gets down, and Max says, don't hit him. And she realizes, the Spirit of Christmas future realizes that Christmas present was there, and she bats clean up on their Spirit softball team. So they go to see how the things ended up. They transport where the future, where everything's in black, like an evil sheep. And he asks, where's Nora on the family portrait? And she says, like, we'll get to that later. Behold. And then we see Hank and Barb come in with black outfits, laughing about how they saw that mailman ran, or that security guard, and say about how much they hate each other. Max says, what's going on? And she's like, since Max stole from their joy of Christmas, they had no choice but turn to the life of the Thundermans had no choice but to turn to a life of crime. Yeah. Which is really weird. Like they didn't have any presents, so their first thought was, oh hey, we got Max away from the villains. We went to Hinville to give the kids a normal life. Let's become villains ourselves. Yeah, that'd be a good idea, Hank. And that's what they did. And yeah, so they turned into a life of crime and cackling. Yeah. Max is like, this is so cool. So they decided to go to see where Phoebe ended up at Himmel High, which is the shot of this, which is the background of this video. And Max says he thinks he turned it around, but the Spirit of Christmas Future revealed Phoebe did. Now it's Phoebe's Thunderman's Academy of Fear. Then evil Phoebe shows up, and Max says Phoebe's bad too. And the Spirit of Christmas Future says she's so bad she rules school with an iron fist, which is a real iron fist that she got from a diabolical woodshop accident. Evil Phoebe uses her telekinesis to have a quarterback trip over a bench. So then they decide to see what happened to Billy, and after his Christmas was ruined. They teleport to Max's lair, but the Spirit of Christmas Future reveals it's actually Billy's lair now. The lair goes to the most evil in the family, and Max is like, more evil than him? Billy didn't get any video games for Christmas. That left him with 14 to 16 hours a day to do nothing but get angry. Evil Billy's on the phone with Mrs. Claus and tells her to put Santa on the phone or the elves get it. Max says, why didn't you think of stealing Santa's elf? And the Spirit of Christmas says she didn't think of that because Max is his pet. Then Max is revealed to be Billy's Dr. Claus, a rabbit. Max tells Evil Billy to feed him, but Evil Billy says, sure, Max, how about a shut your mouth sandwich? Yeah. Max says, that's him? What kind of future is this? And where are his pants? The Spirit of Christmas Future says that Billy took them, so Max wouldn't run away, because he has no one else but him. And Max asks, where's Nora? And she says she was saving the important part for last. They teleport to Metroburg and ask what happened to their plate. The Spirit of Christmas Future says Nora lives here now. She had so many great memories there, so she came back to keep the Christmas spirit alive. Then we see Nora talk to dolls with her family's faces on it. Max asks, why is Nora feeding dumpster mints? And she has dumpster mints. And Max asks, why is she feeding dumpster mint to doll? The Spirit of Christmas Future review says that Nora refused to become a villain, so they kicked her to the curb right next to the dumpster where she found those mints. Which is a kind of a funny and cool. Nora says she has something for doll Max. Her last beau. She forgives him for splitting up the family and ruining Christmas. Max is like she forgives him. Then Evil Billy shows up. Max and Nora both say Billy no, but the spirit of Christmas feature is like reminds Max that they can't hear him. I guess because he is teleporting. Max says, give it back. It was their last bow and she was saving it for Max. Evil Billy says she should have turned evil like the rest of them. Nora says never. And Evil Billy says, fine. If you're going to use beans, open a window. Oh, right. You can't afford a window. Evil Billy roast. Which is like, Billy, that's Evil Billy. That's the best you got. And Evil Billy speeds away, evil laughing. Max says, how can you do that to her? Max does a voice crack. Max says, how can you do that to her? In a voice cracking moment that made me laugh so hard. It's like Jack Griffin voice cracked throughout this moment because it seems like that. Evil Billy's, yeah, Max, yeah, and Spirit of Christmas Future says Max did this to her. Max said he wanted to ruin it one little day, not Nora's whole life. Max has to fix it. The Spirit of Christmas Future says, sorry, Max Thunderman, but it's too late, and she disappears. And Max says, take me back, please. He wants to change it, and starts to say, don't go, as he wakes up in his bed. Claus says he's starting to rethink this whole roommate thing, and Max says, what day is it? And he's like, it's Christmas Eve. And Max kisses Colosso. And Colosso says he was hoping to get it from kisses from Barb, but that'll do. Showing that Colosso ain't gay. But aside from that, the next day, Max is in a holiday spirit. leaving the Thunderman family confused. They open their gift, and Nora opens their gifts to discover nothing. Barb then says, Maximus, Octavius Thunderman, how could you? How could he? Nora says, discover the letter. And she says, oh, never mind. And then it says, look outside. Love, Max. And they turn around to see it's snowing outside, and Barb asks Max how he did it. And Max says he built a machine to freeze the world's supply, but today it's gonna make snow for Nora. And Nora says she loves Max, and says that if they can go outside and chuck snowballs at neighbors. Max says it won't be a Thunderman Christmas if they didn't. So they went outside. Phoebe likes to think she's pushing things out over, pushing. Finally convinces Max to embrace the spirit of Christmas. Max says it's not so bad being good once in a while if it means Nora doesn't have to eat dumpster meat. Phoebe asks him what he's talking about, and Max says, like you don't know, Phoebe. And Phoebe just shrugs this off and joins the family outside in the snow to end the episode, while we get a happy holidays from the Thundermans. So yeah, even though the episode was kind of confusing with the whole how was there a whole week pass between the start of the episode and the after credits and after the opening scene, because Lily Feud says it's a 1 week till Christmas, Max, but then after the opening, Dr. Claus says it's Christmas Eve. How did that even happen? But yeah, this episode was funny, and as Kira Costner said, I think my favorite moment was Spirit of Christmas Past, just because of her whole thing that she did of the all death. But anyway, yeah. So next episode we got mind melting brains. Blobbin's return, and Nora and Billy eating from a one-piece fruit. Actually, they don't, but what they eat looks like it came from a one-piece fruit, but it doesn't give them gum no me powers. But anyway, yeah. So Barb and Hanker's next episode we have Barb and Hank, the Brain Melt 5000 that Max introduced in the pilot is finally going to be used after not being seen since the premiere of season 1. Teenage Hank and Barb, and 3, the power of Gum No Me compels Billy and Nora to help Doggett, to help Blobbin. I'll see you next time. Henshin. See you next time. Butter bird. Boom boom boom. Great blizzard. Grease blizzard.